Dunedin Mayor Dave Cull has just been involved in the National Council Strategy Day held in Wellington and organised by Local Government New Zealand. He joins us to explain what it was and why it was important to attend. Good evening.
Good evening.
Tell us about the National Council Strategy Day.
National Council is National Council of Local Government New Zealand, which is a sector organisation of which all the councils in the country are members. So once a year we kick off the year with a strategy day which sets the priorities and the work program coming up for the year.
And what was your involvement?
Well, I'm a member of the National Council. I'm one of the representatives from the metro sector. So there's metro sector representatives, rural, provincial and regional from the different councils, and there are also people representing different geographic zones. So it's about 17 of us around the table, and that's my involvement.
How useful is this meeting?
Oh, it's hugely useful. In the last few years, Local Government New Zealand as a sector organisation has really stepped up and has much more engagement with central government. We're engaging on legislation that, in its formation stages, legislation that will affect local government in some way or other, legislation that we may have to implement. So we're now sitting, regularly talking to cabinet ministers, to the Prime Minister, developing policy, or helping to develop policy. That's their policy. But if we're going to be implementing it, if it's going to be affecting our communities, it's good to be on the ground floor helping to form it.
What sort of relationship does the DCC have with Local Government New Zealand?
We're a member. So I guess we have two relationships. One is we're a member, like all councils, and the other is that I'm fortunate to be a National Council member too. Is the relationship changing? Yes, it is. The relationship's changing in a number of ways. One is that all councils didn't used to be members, but in the last couple of years they all are now. And as I mentioned earlier, the relationship between local government, Local Government New Zealand, and central government has changed. It's a much more trusting relationship. We're having much more input and have over the last couple of years. So that's a really positive thing. So it's not compulsory to be a member? No. Councils join up and they pay a fee. And Local Government New Zealand does all sorts of things. It lobbies, it influences policy, it does a lot of work around benchmarking and research into things like water infrastructure around the country, for instance. We're doing a big study on that, doing an audit on that. And it provides some services like recruitment services, etc. for councils. So how will you apply what you've learned from this trip this week? I think what's confronting local government across the country at the moment is higher expectations. Government is expecting much more of local government, putting a lot more legislation our way in terms of what we have to implement, and that means that we have to lift our game. And there's been some scandals. Christchurch Council, Kaipara Council, even our own recent fraud. Councils across the country have to lift their game and their performance, not just operationally, but at the governance level, at the council level. We have to become more professional and aspire to best practice across the board.
But that wasn't the only meeting that you attended in Wellington.
Well, that was the strategy day, and then the following day we have the Local Government New Zealand National Council meeting, which we have on a regular basis, and it's just like a council meeting here. There's an agenda and we go through all the agenda items.
Mayor Dave Cull, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.